Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Jahan Siddiqui. Today I'm going to talk about the problem set 5.5 production economy. Along with my course partner, education partner, Ibrahim Ahmed will join with us to discuss about this topic. So without any further delay, let's get on with it. So here is our question given. Given an economy with two consumers, A and B, and two goods, 1 and 2. The individual endowments of each individual A and B is given by WA and WB, and the proportion of their endowment is equal, which is half. The utility functions are given here. I am showing this with the pen, and the farm produces good 2 using good 1 as input. Here, the consumer B is also the farm, and the pi donates the profit of this farm. Good 2 is the numeric good. What is numeric good in economics? Numeric good is the good upon which the base value of the market is decided. First question of here is given. Determine the demand for good 1 and the good 1 of the consumers and the farm. So we try to solve the first question here. So with the solution, we start our solution with consumer S, with consumer A. Here is given the maximization problem of consumer 1, and with first order condition with respect to x1a, x1, x2, x1a, x2a, and the Lagrange operator lambda a. Here is the three conditions after we use the first order condition. After combining and rearranging the first two of our first order conditions, we get this equation P1 x1 a is equal to P2 x2 a. Substituting this into the first order condition of consumer S demand for good A, which is in this equation, we get this equation where we use P2 x2 a is equal to P1 x1, and we get this equation. And after some rearranging and simple mathematics, we get x1a, which is the demand for consumer 1 for good A. And plugging this value into P1 x1 a is equal to P2 x2 a, we can get the consumer S demand for good 2. Here we have plugged the equation we have derived earlier in this. So we can get the consumer S demand for good 2. Now we try to get the consumer B's demand for good 1. We did the same task for consumer B, and the utility maximization problem for consumer B is given here. With the first order condition with respect to x1b, x2b, and the Lagrange operator lambda b, we get this three equation. Similarly, after combining and rearranging the first first order condition of the two conditions we have derived here, we can get this equation. After simple mathematics, we can get this equation easily. Now, applying substituting this equation in the third first order condition that we have get here, this condition, we can get the consumer B's demand for good 1. So here is the consumer B's demand for good 1. And plugging this value into this equation that we have derived earlier, we can get the consumer B's demand for good 2, which is simply written here, which is x2b, and consumer B's demand for good 1 is x1b. Now, lastly, we try to find the demand for the farm's demand for good 1 by setting up the profit maximization problem, which is here, which subject to y2 is equal to root over x1, which is given in our question, which it is written here. So substituting the constant, which is y2 is equal to root over y1, we get the unconstrained maximization problem. Here we used only one variable y1 instead of variable y2. So, and taking the first order condition with respect to y1, we get the farm's demand for good 1.
So we have got the demand for good 1, right? For both consumer and farmer. Both consumer. Yeah. Oh.
Both consumer. We have first we have derived the consumer A, consumer B's demand for good 1 and good 2. Now we try to get the farm's demand for good 1.
Yeah.
So here substituting we have earlier we have got this equation where this equation, right? So after substituting the value we have get here and putting it in this equation, we get consumer base demand for good one, right? And plugging this back into this equation, and consumer base demand for good two is this is there. So we have discussed it again, we have discussed that again, and taking the first order condition with respect to y1 yields firm's demand for good one, which is that. Then plugging back this value in y2 is equal to root y1 in this equation that we have generated earlier in the from this, we can get the farm supply of good 2, which is y2, and this is the production, and this shows the demand for good 1 for the to the farms faced by the farms. This also yields a value for the farm's profit, and we know profit is production is the output where the farm sales, and the farms get from the selling of this product, and gets from the production cost, which is given by here, which is given by this equation, and the rest of it shows the profit of the farms. Now we try to discuss the second question B, where we are asked to show that there is a unique equilibrium price for P1. Okay, we have earlier studied as an economic student when the market clearing condition is there, where the production and the supply, whereas the demand meets the demands meets the production or the supply, and the condition market clearing conditions becomes unity, which is given which is shown by this equation, and substituting our demand from part A that we have generated from our this part, and from the part A here. We have plugged these equations here from x1 is value from part A, and x1 b is value from part A, and also y1's value we have generated from part A. We have used this in this equation, and substituting our profit level pi, which that we have generated from here, which is this p2 square divided by 4p1, which is simply written here, and we have reorganized our market clearing condition. Now we can get and we have said that the numerator is P2 is equal to 1, and rearranging this we get this equation, and solving for P1 yields two solutions, only one of which is positive, and this is the positive solution. Hence the equilibrium price ratio P1 is equal tends to 1.068. This is the unique equilibrium price for the economy or the condition given to us. Now we try to jump into our third question, where we are asked, assume that the production function is now y2 is equal to y1, and thus satisfies constant return to scale. Determine the equilibrium price and allocation, which is we have studied in our economics courses, valuation, equilibrium, allotment. So we recall our earlier studies, where the early ISO profit line is given pi is equal to P2 y2, and P1 y1 can be written as y2 is equal to pi by P2 plus P1 P2 into y1. Since the production function y2 is equal to y1 satisfies constant return to scale, otherwise this shows that each farm or each production process have the same cost to their production, faces the same cost to their production process, and the output decision is y1 is equal to y2 is equal to plus infinity. That means whenever we say the production and demand is equal, then there is no stopping in production process, and it will go along. And if price P2 is greater than P1, and y2 is equal to y1 and is equal to 0, when P2, which is our final product's price, and P1 is our input price, as we have discussed in our question. P1 is the input good for producing the P2, and if y2 is equal to y1 and is equal to 0, if only that it is true only one condition when the input price is larger than the to a final product's price, or any point in the line. And another condition is any point in the line where y2 is equal to y1 if price of the input and output is same. And this condition is simply depicted here in this graph. And as we all are economics student or studying economics or economics enthusiasts, we can easily interpret this graph more than interpreting this written sentence line are given here. So now we try to solve this for this equilibrium. In this case, when P2 price of the output is greater than the input, and the production goes along for the infinite period of time, that the market good for the one cannot clear because the demand for, and the demand for that good one is not is equal to zero. There is no equilibrium in this case. Yeah, and our second case where the where the input price is greater than the output price, and the condition y2 is production is equal to supply is equal to zero, because whenever it's a basic sense that when input price is larger than the output price, the condition for continuous production will not be available or feasible. This is there is no rocket science in it. If we try to think it in a simple way, we can get this we can understand these things clearly. The market clearing condition for good one becomes x1 plus x1a plus x2b is equal to 1, substituting the demand. And we have got the demand of x1 value of x1a and x2b from our part A, and simply here in this in this equation we have plotted these values. And after solving this for P1 gives a P1 as the value is a 3/2, which is obviously less than a 1, and which is not equal to P2. So which contradicts our initial condition of P2 is less than P1, as it is shown here, as it is proved here from this equation. Hence, there is an equilibrium in this case. In our last case, where P1 is equal to P2 and the demand for good one of both consumer A and B reduces to X1A is equal to this value and X1B is equal to this value. Given that pi is equal to 0, which shows the kind of no profit condition, whereas there is the production cost and the cost of price of the good is equal, then there is no profit margin or opportunity for any opportunity for acquiring any profit. The market clearing condition for good one x1a plus x2b is equal to 1, which is actually that there is no profit condition and there is no rest part for the producers to get procure something for their profit. And the condition becomes half plus 1/4 is equal plus y2 is equal to 1. And solving for y2, we can get the value of y1 is 1/4, which is 1/4, which is obviously greater than 0. Hence, there is only one equilibrium. Using P1 is equal to P2, that is P1 by P2 is equal to 1 by a ground level simple mathematics. We can get x1a is equal to half and x1b is equal to 1/4. We can find the remaining elements of correlation equilibrium allotment, which is shown by this. Here x2a and x2b designates the demand for good to consumer A and consumer B, and y2 shows the market clearing condition where the production and the where the demand and supply is equal, which is 1/4. And we arise to our last problem where we are given consider the exchange economy consisting of consumers A and B. In other words, eliminate the firm. Remember, we are first in our problem we are given that the consumer B is the firm and he has a profit condition pi. Now we eliminate the condition of the firm and consider both consumer A and B as a individual consumer, and we try to determine the equilibrium price and allocation. Now we have learned from our earlier studies that valuation demand of good of consumer A and B are already known from our part A. We have derived the values of values from part A. Since there is no firm and we have discussed it, and there is no profit condition and there is no profit margin, and no individual have any incentive to get some profit or procurement from their production, and the market clearing condition for good X1B, X1A and X1B is equal to 1, which shows that the demand for good A for both for both consumer A and B is equal to 1, and which is the market clearing condition. And substituting our valuation demand yields that this condition. Here, this is the value of X1A and this is the value of X1B that we have derived earlier, which is equal to 0. And using our numerator P2 is equal to 1, where we are given in our problem, and we can get this. We can plot the value of P2 from this equation. Here we use the value of P2 is equal to 1. We can get this equation, and solving for P1 is P2 is P1 is equal to 3/4. Substituting this back into our demand function is our equilibrium quantity. Here our equilibrium quantity is X1 is equal to 2/3, and which is the demand for good one for to consumer A, and demand for good 2 for consumer A is equal to 2/5, and demand for good one for consumer B is equal to 1/3, and the demand for good 2 for consumer B is 3/4. So that's all from our part. Hope you guys will find our discussion helpful to learn about this problem set, and we try to come up with another problem set to our next videos, and try to discuss it more elaborately and more clearly to you guys, so we all can get learn and get some basic about microeconomics. Thank you all, and I would like to thank my education my course partner Musa Ibrahim for being there with me and assisting me throughout this discussion. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching our videos, and I hope this will surely help you at least 1% to your academic or even the basic understanding of the grade level studies. So these are the grade level studies. We all know that, and this might seems difficult, but trust me, these are fun to solve. These calculations or these maths are fun to solve, and I think you will get a very clear knowledge from this, because these slides are very well written and these solutions are very easy, very authentic, and obviously very like piece of cake. It is made like piece of cake, so that everyone could easily understand. Okay, so thank you for watching our videos, and hope to see you again. Okay, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.